We teach second grade at Hilltop Elementary School in Elgin. We have 11 girls and 10 boys in our class, and you can see to the right the breakdown of our students. We have a few students that have IEPs, 1 ELL student, 3 that wear glasses, and 1 with a hearing aid. What we expect our students to know prior to the union is a basic understanding of natural disasters, experience with different weather, and skills to be able to write a journal entry. Our students learn best with experiments and hands-on activities and visuals such as videos. We have identified a few state standards and unit goals and objectives for our students. We want to make sure that they can recall information from experiences and gather information from sources, ask and answer questions, produce complete sentences, be able to write opinion pieces, and our most important one is slow and quick, which is a science standard, which is to use information from several sources to provide evidence that Earth events can occur quickly or slowly. Our unit goals are to be able to have students write and explain Earth events, be able to observe them, be able to make connections, and to describe how they have changed the world.
Select strategies, technology, media, and materials. Lesson 3, weathering and erosion. We used a video and experiment. Lesson 8, earthquakes, we used a flipped classroom. Lesson 11 and 12, we used a formative assessment, embedding video and questions with a partner and discussing with a larger group. Also, for our formative assessment, we introduced writing a paragraph and editing a paragraph. Utilizing technology, media, and materials. Throughout this unit, we will use technology to develop higher order thinking skills, promote creativity, and aid and assist in academic learning. We want to promote collaborative learning in groups, develop oral communication, leadership skills, and increase understanding from diverse perspectives. We had a tremendous amount of activities. We really wanted the students to be actively involved throughout the lesson. We didn't want the traditional teacher lectures, students do work. So in order to build on students' prior knowledge, we embedded Nearpod matching activities. We also embedded picture vocabulary. We wanted to embrace our students' preference to visual learning to help them remember definitions. We also use multiple group settings so that we can engage and increase student interest and engagement. One thing I want to note again is that we use closed captioning for learners to build their reading skills as well as support students learning English. Throughout our unit, we really want to make sure that our assessments not only examine the degree to which students achieve the learning objective, but also examine the entire instructional process. So one of the examples we use in our lesson, we want to create a personal communication assessment. An example we use throughout our unit is having our students write in journals after each lesson. That way we can provide feedback for if they're not understanding some of the vocabulary words or concepts, etc.
Lesson 11 is a formative assessment that targets the objective. Students will be able to make connections of Earth events and determine whether the resulting changes are due to changes that happen slowly or rapidly. This assessment checks understanding and promotes discussion. Lesson 13 is a summative assessment, where the students take the post-test. The post-test will allow the students to think critically and demonstrate the knowledge they gained throughout the unit. Lesson 1 uses a YouTube video and a Generation Genius video to introduce changes that occur to Earth throughout history. Lesson 3 uses a Generation Genius video about weathering and erosion to introduce the topic. Lesson 8 uses Nearpod activities to introduce a flipped classroom lesson about earthquakes. Lesson 11 uses a video about mudslides from the Wonder of Science website to promote discussion. Lesson 11 also uses the PBS website to show examples of both fast and slow changes and promote critical thinking. Lesson 12 uses the same website so students can practice writing a paragraph and promotes discussions. We will use formative assessments in the form of a pretest, the teacher walking around listening to conversations, experiments, a Nearpod lesson, science journal entries, and a paragraph. We will use a post-test as a summative assessment.
For my lesson, I'm going over weathering and erosion for our students. We're going to do an introductory lesson by watching a video. And then we are going to have a quick discussion and add vocabulary words to our word wall. After that, the students will explore picture books with their partner about weathering and erosion and write fun facts. After that, we'll move on to an experiment involving skittles and pans so that the students can visually see the difference between weathering and erosion. And then we will wrap it up by using our learning log and drawing and writing weathering and erosion.
Lesson 8, Earthquakes. During this lesson, we really want to have fun and hear a lot of ahs and oohs and just assess prior knowledge and at the same time have fun. So we use a lot of great activities such as matching, picture vocabulary, and we also added in a drawing activity that the kids can sketch natural earth events. So this was a really fun lesson.
Lesson 11 is a formative assessment. We use an anchoring phenomenon from the Wonder of Science website about mudslides. The students will watch the video on mute, discuss the video, and ask any questions. During the Explore phase, the class will review the rubric and ask any clarifying questions. In Partners, the students will watch the video on slides 1 through 4 from the PBS website provided. They will discuss the questions in Partners and write down the responses, referring back to the rubric. During the Explain phase, the students will join 2 other pairs, having 6 kids in a group total. They will discuss the videos and questions, building on the comments from the conversation. If they have questions, they will write them on a sticky note, put them on the board, and the teacher will discuss them later. After the discussion, the students will turn in their responses, and the teacher will grade and provide feedback. During the 12th lesson, the students will learn about writing a paragraph. First, they will vote how many parts there are, then discuss the possible parts, read through each part, and then watch a presentation to learn the information. During the Explore phase, the students engage with the PBS website for slides 5 and 6 in pairs. They will write a paragraph together in Google Documents. In the Extend phase, the pair will meet with another pair, so 4 kids total. They will share their Google document and check for errors, providing suggestion and feedback. Then the students will write their sentences on a worksheet provided and cut them out. The class will then put it back together in order, voting anonymously whether the order is correct.